I should have lied. I should have begged. Instead, I told the truth. I think they're lonely. A shockwave rippled through the chamber. Dragons laughed. Sharp, mocking sounds. Loneliness was a human weakness. Dragons were born into purpose. Into hierarchy. Into flame. But the Empress didn't laugh. She leaned closer, nostrils flaring as she studied me. Then she did something no dragon ruler had done in 10,000 years. She reached into my mind. Pain exploded behind my eyes. Memories tore loose, Earth's fall, the evacuation ships leaving without us, the silence afterward. My guilt. My grief. The way I cleaned palaces because it was easier than remembering. The Empress recoiled. Her gaze changed. These hatchlings, she said slowly, were engineered. The court went silent. They are stronger. Smarter. More aggressive than any brood before them. Her claws tightened. But the architects removed something they deemed inefficient. She looked at me again. They removed the capacity for emotional regulation. A chill crept down my spine. They feel everything, she continued. Fear without context. Rage without restraint. Hunger without end. Her voice dropped. They were meant to conquer the coming wars. The hatchlings whimpered. And yet, the Empress said, they seek you. The mid-story truth hit like a blade. I wasn't calming them. I was grounding them. Human neurochemistry, our empathy, our stupid, irrational attachment, was resonating with their unstable flame. My presence regulated their psionic output. Where dragons imposed dominance, humans offered comfort. A forbidden variable. That was when the high geneticist stepped forward. This human is a flaw, he hissed. An uncontrolled influence. He must be removed. The hatchlings hissed back. Sparks leapt from their teeth. For the first time in my life, something powerful chose me. And I realized what that meant. I became a liability. They confined me to the spire, officially promoted to sanitation liaison to the royal brood. Unofficially, I was a test subject. Monitored. Scanned. Watched as hatchlings calmed when I spoke, when I hummed songs my mother used to sing. Songs from a dead world. But peace never lasts in empires built on fire. Whispers spread through the concordance. Other factions wanted the hatchlings unmodified. Some wanted them terminated. Others wanted me dissected, my brain mapped and replicated. I felt the danger long before the attempt came. The hatchlings felt it too. The night the assassins breached the spire, the babies woke screaming. Not with fear, but warning. I ran toward the nursery as explosions shook the towers. Guards fell. Blood steamed on crystal floors. I reached the chamber to find the high geneticist standing over the brood, plasma blade humming. They are too dangerous, he snarled. And so are you. I stepped between him and the hatchlings. I was unarmed. I was human. And I was done running. They're not weapons, I said. They're children. He laughed and raised the blade. Fire erupted, not from the hatchlings, but from the walls themselves. The Empress descended like judgment, tearing the geneticist apart before he could scream. Silence followed. Ash drifted through the nursery. Karzathiel turned to me, eyes heavy with something I never expected to see in a dragon. Regret. We forgot, she said softly, what it means to be young. She lowered her massive head until it rested on the floor before me. An act of humility that would shatter the empire if anyone saw. You will stay, she said. Not as a servant. The hatchlings climbed into my arms, warm and alive. But as their keeper. The wars still came. The galaxy still burned. But when the Dragon Armada rose, something was different. The new generation fought with restraint. With purpose. With mercy where none had existed before. And at the heart of it all was a human janitor, rocking empires to sleep. Sometimes, late at night, I'd sit in the nursery, stars glowing beyond the crystal walls, hatchlings breathing softly against my chest. And I'd think about Earth. About loss. About how even in a universe of fire, the smallest warmth can change everything. Because the most powerful thing I ever held wasn't a weapon. It was trust. The first time the alarm screamed through the crystal spire, everyone assumed an assassination attempt. But no one expected to find 3 missing dragon hatchlings curled up, purring, in a human janitor's lap. I remember the way the floor vibrated under my boots as I ran, mop bucket still rattling behind me. Red warning sigils burned across the air like open wounds. Royal guards thundered past, scales flashing beneath their armor, claws gripping shock lances meant to stun gods. Somewhere above us, the Dragon Empress herself roared, a sound that could fracture moons. And there I was, sitting cross-legged in a maintenance alcove, holding a warm, trembling future of the Empire. That should have been the moment I died. But it wasn't. That was only the beginning. My name is Eli Mercer. Earthborn. No rank. No titles. Just a contract janitor on Varkus Prime, capital world of the Draconic Concordance. I cleaned floors polished by noble talons and wiped blood off walls after political negotiations went poorly. Humans were cheap labor here, emotionally flexible, physically fragile, easily replaced. At least, that's what the dragons believed. The royal nursery was the most guarded chamber in the Empire. Hatchlings there weren't just children. They were living weapons, future emperors, planet breakers still learning how to breathe fire without burning their own wings. Each one was tagged with biolocks, psionic wards, and cradle fields tuned to their genetic flame. So when they started escaping, it shouldn't have been possible. But they did. Every time. Always found with me. The second time, they discovered 5 hatchlings tangled in my cleaning cloak, tiny claws hooked into the fabric, smoke puffing from their nostrils as they slept. One had drooled molten saliva onto my knee. I didn't move. If I startled them, they cried. If they cried, the guards came. And if the guards came, I was dead. Yet when the nursery matrons arrived, their eyes widened, not in rage but confusion. Dragon young were notoriously aggressive. They bit. They burned. They rejected touch from anyone but their bonded caretakers. But in my lap, they slept like kittens. What have you done to them? Hissed matron Cythrea, her frill flaring. I opened my mouth to answer, then closed it. Because I didn't know. And that terrified me more than the guards. The third escape changed everything. This time, the hatchlings didn't just wander out. They disabled their own containment fields. Nursery recordings showed them coordinating. One distracting the sentry drone, another chewing through a fiber conduit with heat precise enough not to trigger alarms. They were learning faster than expected. Too fast. And they weren't going anywhere random. They were coming to me. I found them waiting in the supply corridor, little bodies lined up like they'd practiced. When I knelt, they chirped, soft, resonant sounds that vibrated in my chest. My heart stuttered, and suddenly I wasn't in the spire anymore. I was back on Earth. Back in the ruins of San Diego, holding my baby sister as the sky burned green and something vast screamed from orbit. Back when I learned that fear could be swallowed if someone smaller needed you. The hatchlings crawled into my arms. None of us were prepared for the truth. By the end of that cycle, I was summoned before the Dragon Empress. Her name was Karzathiel, Eater of Suns, Mother of Embers. She filled the throne chamber, coils wrapped around pillars older than my species. Her eyes burned gold, ancient and calculating. Between her claws lay the hatchlings, awake now, alert, and the moment they saw me, they wriggled free and scrambled toward my legs. The entire court froze. You, the Empress rumbled, her voice scraping across reality itself. Human. Why do my heirs seek you?